young. But first, as we take this drive to Slammiversary together, there is no person I would like to share this ride with more than the EVP of Impact Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Scott Amore. Scott, welcome on in.
Hey, thanks, D'Lo. I mean, if there's one person that I've spent enough hours on a road with going down a highway, it's you. And no matter what route we're taking, we got to go through Lima, Ohio, to that Pizza Hut buffet and sit there long enough to have the lunch, drink iced tea until we have the dinner, too, because we're too damn broke to have anything else to eat that day.
At this point, we're too damn cheap.
Great Scott, to be here, man.
I'm glad to have you here with us today. And look, it is a special event this Sunday, Slammiversary, 20 years of Impact Wrestling. You've been around for a lot of those years. Right off the bat, give me your thoughts on what Slammiversary means to you.
Man, Slammiversary every year has been a celebration. I was there that first year. I think you were as well, D'Lo. At the Asylum, the very grounds we're returning to now 20 years later. And this year, uniquely special because it's not just a celebration of overcoming the odds and being here like it has been so many years. It's 20 freaking years. It's one of the longest running national companies in the history of our industry. It's one of the longest running television shows in the history of television. You know, it's unbelievable. Who would have ever thought they proclaimed, TNA wrestling in the early days dead before it started, and then after 6 weeks, and was never going to last a year. And then, God bless him, Uncle Dave Meltzer. I remember in 2005 when I was taking over steering the ship the first time, I saw that his headline, like the first line was, by the time you read this, TNA wrestling will be out of business. And thankfully him and everybody else was wrong. Here we are. We returned to Nashville. To, not the exact same building because it's gone, but to the grounds where that Asylum was, where we had so many amazing memory in those early days. And we're going there 20 years later, still celebrating some of the innovation and some of the history and some of the current as well as future moments we're going to be making an impact for a long time to come.
And speaking of that, you've been around for a lot of these and 20 years. Are there any moments that jump out to you in the history of this company that you had that special fondness for? I know Team Canada sits close to your heart.
Yeah, I mean, look, Team Canada, obviously, with that group of guys, I mean, that was as talented a group as there's ever been. And the thing I always say that one of my favorite parts about Team Canada is it really was a team. And it really was, almost a family. Like, everybody looked out for each other. Like, it wasn't two people thrown together. It was a group that came up together in Canada, through Border City Wrestling and all the other groups up here in Ontario, Canada, that really forged a true bond and got to experience so many amazing moments together. And, you go back to the first Bound for Glory where Rhino, won a Monsters Ball, a gauntlet for the gold, and defeated Jeff Jarrett for the World's Championship. You talk about that first world title win for AJ Styles right there, on these grounds in Nashville that we're going to be on. It's that night that Raven showed up. It was the tanks in that video that brought out debuting D'Lo Brown so many years ago. There's just so much of it, and we celebrate a lot of it here this year, right? Like we, King of the Mountain, for better or worse than some people's opinions, and they vary, has been a huge part of this company, and now it's our Knockouts chance to go out there and work the way through these rules. And we're having the first ever Queen of the Mountain. We're having Ultimate X, which is one of the biggest staples of this company. I mean, it's the one match that exists in Impact Wrestling and really nowhere else. It's our creation and it's our baby. It's the fact, hey, like I tweeted out the other day, if you're going to celebrate 20 years, you celebrate it all. And that's why we're doing a reverse battle royal. Is anyone sitting here telling you that reverse battle royal was one of the greatest things we ever did? No, we're actually saying, hey, look, sometimes if you're going to swing for the fences, you're going to strike the F out, So let's have a little fun. Like those moments, sometimes, as you know, D'Lo, those tough moments are as memorable as those great moments. And they all come together to form, a rich history of this company.
Without the moments you cringe at, the moments you smile and glee for don't happen, or you don't have appreciation for them. So Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the reverse battle royal because I was sure as hell about to bring that up.
Right. And the thing is, as ridiculous and idiotic the concept may be, I'll tell you what, it didn't seem any more ridiculous than when we first talked about Ultimate X. And talking about Ultimate X, it was just
True.
Jeff just kept going, we're gonna do what? And it was like, I was like, oh man, this may be the worst thing we've ever done. And then the fact that we couldn't figure out how to build the frickin' thing the day of. Like, it was literally up to an hour before the show where we finally got the structure right. Like, what type of dumb Fs go out there and make this match, promote it, and don't even know how to build the damn structure? Like, those were the early days of this company. And, you know, it worked. Now we have a match that hit, and it's amazing, and it's the staple of our X division, which is one of the staples of our company.
And it's amazing how serendipity happens because Impact Wrestling has always been a trailblazer in the things they've done. You've mentioned Ultimate X. You've mentioned the knockouts being a focal point of not just a show, but main eventing a show and having their own standalone battle royal. These are the things that Impact Wrestling has brought to the wrestling world that is being copied by other companies around the world today.
Right. I mean, who else was going to give AJ Styles a chance to be phenomenal? Who else was going to take an insecure, you know, monster, you know, of Abyss, who is, you know, in real life is just a big lumbering sweetheart of a passionate guy with a love for wrestling and going to craft through all those idiosyncrasies to help, you know, him become what he should be, which is an amazing performer. And that continues through today. And you look at some of the people on our roster, whether it's, you know, Speedball Mike Bailey, who's a complete next level weirdo. Or whether it's Josh Alexander, who, you know, looks like somebody just shot his dog every time you look at him, or whatever it is, you know, like these people come here and they flourish because they get to be the best them, and they don't have people telling them that they can't. They have people giving them an opportunity to do. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts that Impact Wrestling has had, and that's why I'm excited here as we head into Slammiversary.
Well, I mean, I think that's a great note to kind of wrap this up on. Maybe I have one more follow-up question, and that is, so many people have been given an opportunity. So many people have been given a chance where maybe somewhere else they didn't get that same opportunity, and they've come to Impact Wrestling and flourished. And we got two of them waiting in the wings right now, people who have been given an opportunity to take full advantage of it. How does that make you feel as the EVP of all this when you see a talent and you give them that opportunity and they just hit the ball out of the damn park?
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, which is what I always am at my core, and as a teacher, you know, I think it's amazing to be able to give people opportunities, and then it's up to them. You task them with going out there and doing it. You can do everything to support them, but ultimately it's on them. So everybody who goes out there and succeeds on their own, just with the support and the opportunity being given to them. And our main event here at Slammiversary for the Impact World Championship are two people that completely encompass that philosophy, and are two people who personally I've been as close to as just about anybody in this industry. You know, you've got Eric Young, who I've known from when he was literally, you know, a kid. And to watch him come up in wrestling, like seeing him on indies and being, oh, he's a good indie wrestler. Oh, like maybe he'll do something. Be like, oh, frick, like this guy is a world champion multiple times over and as well-rounded and as underrated a wrestler as I think there's ever been. And then Josh Alexander. And I mean, books could be written, you know, and movies, you know, will be written or, you know, and produced about Josh's life and what he's done from, you know, his story has been documented from an insecure, overweight kid to an aspiring wrestler who had it all ripped out of his hands, you know, through injury and circumstance, and to find his way back, not just, you know, to being able to do his passion, but to be arguably the very best at it in this sport. So it's two unbelievable athletes. It's two people that, as great as they are as athletes, you know, despite Eric Young's crappy attitude sometimes and slapping me around once in a while, which I don't really like. Two people that have just, you know, have a body of work that shows that they're the type of individuals that should be in this business and make this industry as great as it is. And I'm excited to watch them take center stage in the 20th anniversary of this company and go out there and just rock the house like everybody else from top to bottom will.
Well, Scott, I appreciate you joining me on Press Pass here today, and I say this from everyone else. I can't wait to see you Sunday. I can't wait for Slammiversary. I can't wait for number 20. this is going to be an incredible weekend.
Hey, and while we're here, I got one last thing, and this is just to talk about the early days. I found this picture, so I made it my screensaver. How about that?
Look at that!
I've been popping people with that as my Zoom screensaver. I try to switch it up all the time, and that's the current one. So, that kid's kind of done okay for himself, too.
A kid's got legs. He can run in this business a little bit.
He might be all right. You better recognize.
Okay. Well, thank you, Scott. I appreciate you, and we're going to keep going on rolling here with Press Pass. Thank you, Scott.
Sounds good. Thanks.